Alright, we're here on a dedicated server. One of the ERI official servers. Wanted to record a bunch on these just to see how they're performing. And we got a whole bunch of people I had never seen before. We got Cosmius from the last one. But Raw, Patrick, Max Tastic 08, Hellraiser, Tankbuster, RMV's in Theta. RMV Sign Theta? And Maximilian Archambolt. Not familiar with any of these people. Yeah, the only person I've seen is Cosmius, and I only saw him in the last one. Oh. Bunch of new guys, new faces. I'm excited to see what builds they're going to bring. Since I don't know any of these people, I can't make any estimations about what kind of play they're going to have. That is most exciting, most exciting. And we're here on Avora. Like I mentioned, we're on a dedicated server. I'm going to try to make the next several casts on dedicated servers. Maybe viewers, maybe not. We shall see. Team 1 ANS, Team 2 OSP. No. Yes. I was getting confused because I was on the backside. Big game 4v4, and we're going to be dropping down with the Buffalo Wings. A ANS fighting Voxel with an excessive amount of point defense, which I always respect. Got a Sarissa on the top mount, looks like. Or is it all defenders? No, it's definitely Sarissa. You can tell because of the 2B launch here. A little mini little railgun. Oh god, I can't click on anything. Okay. 4 guns. 5 guns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, how did you... What? 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I crazy? Yeah, I was counting the Sarissa because I'm a silly Billy. 4 guns. Sarissa, point defense. And VLS 3s on these? Where is that slotted? On the backpack. And some E-War ships. Cosmius with his battleship. With Sarissas and defenders and guns. And a scout. Little PD scout. Raw also bringing a battleship. Pretty heavy tonnage this match out of the ANS team. Yeah, oh my god. Pretty medium tonnage. Look at all of these line ships. Yeah, I love to see it. I love bulkers. I think they're awesome. Easily one of my favorite ships. Up there with the Voxel. Like bulkers and Voxels. Okay, Raw's bringing stone walls. Lots of stone walls and a couple defenders. And some Mark 68s. Then a little War Reigns. Man, this thing has to be stacked. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Okay, let's go see what's going on the OSP team side of things. We got a Bulker with some 250s. Bastions. Presumably these are all going to have that. Yeah, Bulkers, 250s, Bastions. 1 lockup, 1 Lighthouse. This player isn't really sure what he's doing, unfortunately. So 2 lockups and a Lighthouse. I think he thinks the Lighthouse makes things easier to spot, but they're really just for semi-actives. Good luck, buddy. I think you're going to need it. Max over... Well, I can't even call him Max, because one of the players on this is named Max. Damn it. So we're going to call you Archambolt. 250s, 450s. 250s in PD, 250 in PD, and just PD. A lot of point defense. This man pays his taxes. Look at that. What are you doing on the OSP team? Paying your taxes. Being afraid of hybrids, that's what he's doing. Which is understandable. A couple scouts from RMV. And some 450 liners. Man, this is This is a dangerous team. This is a really dangerous team. They're kind of fragile with all these bulkers, but if they can get some good scouting and get some fire down the field, speaking of fire down the field, some fire coming at these bulkers out of that Solomon. Not very good accuracy, but a couple hits, a couple strikes. We're gonna have to keep an eye on that after we go through these. Oh boy. Here we go. Rockets, pinpoints. We're bringing gunship Ocello. Some support stuff. And then a few combat tugs with guns. And a little bit of point defense, but not enough point defense out of this team right here. These guys have not paid their PD taxes. Speaking of making people pay, I think the Solomon's about to pay for his hubris. Did I go to the wrong one? Oh no, okay. So these are both being shot at. It's taking a few hits on that drive section, but he's going to be able to dip behind the rock here before too long. Just taking a few hits. What about you? You're pretty much fine. You can't click on things under the little info pane. It's driving me mad. It's making me crazy. Rockets, cute idea, but not enough of a concentration since each one only has one rocket on them. Not enough of a concentration to get through this immense point defense web work. Did I look at Max-tastic with the Axford and the gun? I think I skipped this guy. So he's got an Axford, he's got a fighting Axford, fighting Voxel, and a Scout. Not the end of the world skipping that guy, because that's a pretty basic setup. And he's got enough point defense. Yeah, if these three ships stick together, this is going to be a really, really dangerous little triangle of ships here. RPF going into these shuttles, going to tear them apart. And the 455 from the Axford helping, but doing significantly less than the RPF. Those overpin penalties are pretty brutal. Speaking of overpin. Cosmius just big chillin' and cover, which is probably for the best. If he pokes his face out, he's going to get blasted by 2 bulkers, 1 Ocello, and a few tugs. I think the support ships over here are mostly point defense. Well, no, the tugs have nipple guns on them. Alright, and this bulker as well. Just currently being shot at. I don't think anyone's got a good track on this Solomon, but Solomons are big enough that that might not be too much of a problem. I know a Solomon firing at a bulker is going to have a much harder time getting hit with a bad track. Oh boy, speaking of Solomons, getting shot at. Then bulkers firing at Solomons. Although bow tanking is going to mean that a lot of these shots are just going to miss. He doesn't have the perfect angle, but he's got a pretty good one. Fair bit of damage coming in, but not really. Are y'all using HE? No, they're using AP. Just Solomons are illegally beefy. Extra thick, as one Aku might say. And it's no caps just yet. OSP got 2, the 2 caps in the middle of the map remaining completely untouched by either team. Well, it looks like this little group, Arcbolt and Tankbuster, are maneuvering to capture C. Maneuvering to capture Charles over there. Chuck for his friends. Yeah, these rockets are fired way too far away. These aren't going to hit anything. The chaff's kind of funny. But, or they are going to hit things. Okay, so this guy decided not to dodge. See, what you do when rockets are fired at you from extremely far away is you change your velocity. You either brake, or you move, you go in a different direction. Because then they'll just miss, like that. Because that's way too far away. It's easy to dodge at that range. And this team is out of rockets, presumably. Yeah, definitely out of rockets. All those are redded out. I'm pretty worried for this battleship because this team here is pretty dangerous. Especially if these ships start firing at it. They're not angled properly, so they're actually taking a ton of damage for free. This is recently reloaded. Yeah, they're taking a ton of damage for free. Doesn't even look like he's trying to get angled. It looks like he's trying to fight the ships over here. Which is a good way for his ships to get completely destroyed without doing anything, which is exactly what's happening. Sausage gonna get blown to smitheroonies by that 450 fire. That's a technical term. Apologies to all the laymen out there. That means pieces.
The enemy is securing zone common.
These shuttles getting eaten alive by the push kings over here. That's the battleship Axford Vauxhall. It's a real terrifying force. Of course, the Axford going to be in the middle and taking a lot of hits without getting much support from his teammates right now, which he really doesn't want to be doing. You need to dip behind cover. The advantage here is that you have more fleet power than your opponent does, but not if you just sit out in the open and eat 450 rounds like it's 450 present day. The bow tanking helps, but not enough. The top turret taken down. And then I was taking some hits. This battleship, yeah, still just kind of shooting people for free up top. Down at the practice range, blowing up OSP ships. Some of Archambault's fleets looping around. Going to get some fire down the field. And we're could spell disaster for this, especially... Okay, it's a DC locker. About to say, especially if the CIC and the bridge gets taken out, but the CIC is located somewhere much more intelligently. I think... Where is it? Why can't I find it? There it is. Okay, not that much better. Still in the bridge. Or not. Yeah, it says it's this, but I don't think that's correct. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Oh my. And while I've been busy trying to figure out the incomprehensible map of the Solomon, everything on the map is now shooting at this ship. It is getting surrounded. This is the worst nightmare for a Solomon. You do not want to be by yourself, and this is exactly why you don't want to be by yourself. Looks like a couple rockets got stuck inside the Solomon and did not explode. I don't know what the deal is with those. Oh, there they go. Getting surrounded and torn apart. You really need to be with a team. That's why these ships over here are being so effective, is because they're grouped up. And that's exactly why these ships and these ships and these ships are being so effective over here, because they're all grouped up. And taking out this Solomon, even though it's big and dangerous and could engage any one of these fleets on their own and do pretty well, as we saw against RMV's ship. With all these fleets working together like this, it's pretty much screwed. Yeah, accidental bow tanking doing work even against these 450s. I think he might be trying to loop around to the backside of him, maybe? PD Spy going to be going after some points. ANS still very behind on caps and on points. About to be even more behind as the Lossy Boar takes Bravo. Alright, that thing's dead. We don't need to look at it anymore. These ships orienting. This team just really hadn't done anything. He's just kind of chilling in these rocks back at spawn and not contributing. I don't know what that's about. Could be doing like counter shuttle strats like this. But he's just gonna bin back here. I don't know. Oh, this is the guy that got rocketed earlier. Yeah, and he was still like way back here. What are you doing back in this area, man? You're not a missile team. I mean, you have missiles, but that's not your dedicated role. Your dedicated role is guns.
The enemy secured zone box.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what the deal is there. Okay, so this is officially dead. Oh my, this might be roasting, nothing, actually. I figured that would be in range of some of these ships, but not quite, not quite. This Solomon, so remember the conversation we were just having about Solomons being by themselves, being kind of weak, but being an incredible and powerful core of a fleet that works together? Well, the Solomon's pushing up by himself. And these three bulkers are absolutely going to be able to punish that very hard, especially if most of his gunfire is going into the bulker that has the 250. They all have 250s. Still, though. It's very much not what you want to be doing. Very much not what you want to be doing. You need this thing to be grouped with the team. So, like, talk, have some teamwork. Unfortunately, I think part of the problem is that this guy's, yeah, Maxtastic up here is just sitting while he's decided to go and save this battleship, which is already dead, unfortunately. So this incredibly powerful triangle of ships has split up, and this Vauxhall's fighting two fleets on its own, so it's gonna die very quickly. And then these Vauxhalls are gonna hide, wait for this to die, and then get pincered by these two fleets, and they're also going to get torn apart by, you know, two fleets fighting one fleet. Which is just the theme of this match, I guess. It's gonna have to be the title of the video, 2v1, 2v1, 2v1.
We are contesting
1vx the game. You really need the teamwork. You gotta stick together. And I mean, hell, even this thing going solo against these three ships, since it's bulkers with broadsiders, they're able to out damage the Solomon. Even though they have far less health, it can significantly out damage the Solomon. Which is a problem. It's a big problem. Big problem. This thing's still gonna get torn apart. Teamwork is everything. Teamwork is everything.
The enemy is securing zone dagger.
Cosmios leaves. Understandable. Not much to be learned from an AAR from after getting completely surrounded by opposing forces. Getting some rather questionable bulker alignments. This guy out of Max here. Oh no, this is Max's on your team. This is Maximilian. Did they both use? Okay, no, this guy used NSV. To be very unhappy. Yeah, shuttle's getting in the way. That's kind of the problem of flying a fleet in close formation. It's been working out for him so far, but this shuttle is really mucking up his bulker's ability to maneuver. It's going to cause a lot of free damage to come out of this team. Buffalo Wings and Chum Bucket. Lovely names. OSP has definitely won this game, by the way, for anyone who's wondering. Yes, the OSP has won. The fight is over. The ANS have had a really good opportunity over here to group up and push and deal a ton of damage. Especially with this battleship being offset. If they could have coordinated what they were firing at and had this thing fire and retreat at the same time, it would have been extremely powerful. Unfortunately, the ANS did not do that. And so they got stomped by these two and this guy working together. And then this guy just pushed into 3 bulkers, which you really don't want to be doing. Because even with the bow tanking, is just taking too much damage. Cannons are going to come back online, and they're going to immediately get killed again. Those are the 4 most hard points right now. These ships just in full retreat. Not even firing while retreating, not at that angle. Which means they're going to get their drives popped out. And then killed immediately after. The part of the video where I fire up AOL Messenger. What is this doing over here? Oh. Being dead is what it's doing over there. Axford gonna get some counterfire in on this team, but it's too late. Especially since this is taking fire from up here. Which is going to steadily strip out the internals of this. M450 fire is no joke. These bulkers, for some reason, retreating from the Solomon. You really need to push the advantage. Well, to be fair, they can't see in the shape that this thing is in. All I know is Solomon dangerous, stay away. Yeah, if you push your advantage in these ships, you could kill this thing before it's able to repair much. In fact, it's out of restores. Okay, and like I said, as soon as these got restored, they got popped out. Because they're at the front, and this thing's taking all of its fire on the front. That's one of the downsides of bow tanking. Is that as good as it can be at the start, it will eventually cause your cannons to be permanently disabled. And he's not really going to be able to get anything else into range other than that bottom cannon. That rear turret is not going to fire if he's going to keep his angling like this. I'm going to hit him with a GG. Since the game is over, especially with this thing dying. Oh, is one of these ships actually going to get away? Yeah. This raider drive is going to get kind of repaired. It's kind of rude to do that early, by the way. Thinking about it now. But the game is definitely over. OSP have won. Superior teamwork wins the day. Oh, well, I guess I spoke to... Oh, no, they're firing at the one that's already dead. Yeah, don't do that, by the way. Don't retreat with your drives pointed towards your opponent. Because you will just die without doing any damage. Retreating while firing is much more efficacious. Even if you die, you'll be able to deal some damage. And you don't get any raw speed out of your drive when you're doing that. You get acceleration, but max speed is max speed. And with something like voxels, it doesn't take long to get to max speed with the front thrusters, especially when the rears are already beat up from burning on flank. Right, yeah, I'm probably gonna cut the rest of this ending. So, alright, we're in the AAR. Hello, welcome. You've probably just been suddenly transported here. What do we got here? Okay. Yeah, this guy just kind of got exploded. He did more than I was expecting. But I think a lot of this was dealt to small ships. Yeah, this team didn't really do much because they had position and then they gave it up. That's coming from a player who said, I hate this map. You just chose to not group up. That's why you got owned. Cosmias and Raw not able to do much since they were on their own. Fortunately, Hellraiser doing less than I was expecting. I mean, he only shot at the one battleship. And that's over 20k, so I guess it's fine. Yeah, orc ships there. Yeah, Archambault. Yeah, doing pretty good on his damage numbers. Getting a surround on Cosmias and then on Patrick. And also dishing some damage into Maxtastic, just a little bit. RMV, unfortunately, this ship just got obliterated without doing anything because it wasn't faced properly and it was engaging a battleship on its own. But the Pancake did a lot better with the follow-up on that battleship surround. Tankbuster, part of the surrounding fleet. He'll do a lot. Even this tug doing a lot. Ah, there it is. And both these tugs getting good hits on those rockets. Very nice. Okay, pretty simple. Not much to say there. Let's a dedicated server. Ran really well. I've got a Discord for setting up games with people. It's just an alternative LFG that I can ping people in, other than the main Nebulous Discord. So check that out. That's in the description if you are interested in such things, and if not, don't. That's a match. See you in the battle space.